You are standing in a driveway holding a set of car keys you cannot really afford. Next door, a man who could buy the entire dealership is washing a car that is 12 years old. You don't know it yet. But the next 10 years of your life will be decided by which one of you is actually right. You are 27. The bonus hits your account on a Friday afternoon, and for a moment the number on the screen feels like proof of something. Proof that you're not behind. Proof that you're finally becoming the version of yourself you imagined at 22. You don't think about it as money. You think about it as evidence. By Sunday night, it's mostly gone. A new phone. A weekend trip you booked without checking the return flight price. Dinner somewhere expensive enough that you didn't look at the bill until it was already paid. You post a photo. People like it. For about 6 hours, you feel like you've made it. 3 weeks later, you feel nothing at all. The phone is just a phone again. The trip is a memory competing with 100 other memories. The feeling didn't last, and worse, you can't explain where it went. This is the part nobody tells you about money. Spending it fast gives you a spike. And then it gives you silence. And in that silence, you start doing something dangerous. You start planning the next spike. That's around the time you start noticing your neighbor. His name is Aaron. He's somewhere in his 50s, and from what you can tell, he runs some kind of consulting business from the second bedroom of his house. Same car in the driveway every single day, a Honda, old enough that the paint has started to dull on the hood. Same jacket in the fall. Same porch light that clicks on at exactly 6:47 every evening. Your other neighbors talk about him quietly, the way people talk about someone they've quietly decided not to worry about. He's probably just getting by. Someone says at a barbecue, and everyone nods, because the story makes sense. Old car. Simple house. Must be tight for him. Except one afternoon, you're getting your mail at the same time he is, and he mentions, almost as an aside, that he just wired a down payment on a small building downtown. Commercial property. Cash reserve for the rest. Said it the way most people mention what they had for lunch. You stand there holding your mail for a second too long. None of it makes sense yet. But it plants a question in you that won't leave. 2 months later, your car breaks down on a Tuesday night, right in front of his house, of all places. He comes out to see if you're okay, and somehow, maybe because it's late, maybe because you're annoyed and tired and it just comes out, you ask him. Why the same car? Why the same jacket? Why, if he clearly has money, does he live like someone who doesn't? He's quiet for a moment. Then he says something you don't expect. I used to live like you're living now. He tells you about his late 20s, a good job, a growing paycheck, and a habit of turning every extra dollar into proof that he was winning. New car every 3 years. A bigger apartment the moment he could technically afford the rent, not the moment he could comfortably afford it. He wasn't reckless, he says. That's the part that surprises you. He wasn't irresponsible. He just always converted more money into more life, immediately, automatically, the way water finds the lowest point in a room. It took me 7 years to notice I hadn't actually built anything, he says. I had a nice life. I didn't have anything under it. He tells you the number that finally scared him straight, not a debt number, but a savings number. 34 years old, a decade into a real career, and less saved than a friend of his who'd made half the salary the entire time. That friend hadn't been smarter. He'd just been more willing to look, for a while, like he wasn't doing as well. Everyone thinks rich people are just better with money, Aaron says slowly, like he said it to himself more than to you. That's not it. Rich people are just more afraid of running out of time than they are of looking behind for a few years. You don't fully understand that sentence yet. You will. 8 months later, a second bonus comes in. Smaller than the first, but real. And this time, the decision feels different, because now you can't unknow what you know. Your friends are a year further into their own upgrades. One buys a car, another signs a lease on an apartment with a view, another posts from a beach you can't currently picture yourself standing on. The pull isn't about the money anymore. It's about not wanting to be the only one standing still while everyone else visibly moves. You put most of it away instead. Quietly. No post. No new object to point to. And for the first time, you feel the strange, uncomfortable side of this choice that nobody warns you about. It doesn't feel like winning. It feels like disappearing. There is a specific kind of loneliness in sitting on money instead of spending it, watching other people's lives visibly expand while yours looks, from the outside, exactly the same as it did last year. The years that follow aren't dramatic, and that's the part the story doesn't usually tell you, because it doesn't make for a good highlight reel. There's no single scene where everything changes. There's a Tuesday where you decline an expensive dinner and go home and cook instead, and nothing happens, and nobody notices. There's a year where your car gets a new dent and you don't fix it, because fixing it isn't actually necessary, it's just visible. There's a small, steady number in an account that grows in a way that's almost boring to watch, the kind of growth you only notice if you check it once a year instead of once a week. Somewhere in there, without a specific moment to point to, something shifts. The urge to prove something to people at a barbecue starts to matter less. You start making decisions and quietly checking how they'll feel to you in 5 years instead of how they'll look this weekend. You still want things. You still, sometimes, want the car in the driveway. But now you notice the want, instead of obeying it instantly. Aaron moves a few years later, some family reason, a town closer to his daughter. Before he goes, he hands you a folded piece of paper through the fence, half joking about it, the way people hand off things they mean more seriously than they're letting on. On it, just one line. You weren't behind. You were just early to look like it. You don't fully understand that line for another year. Now you are standing in a driveway again. Different house. Different year. You are older now than Aaron was the day you first noticed his car. There's a set of keys in your hand, but this time, they're not for something you bought to prove anything. They're for the same modest car you've had for a while, because a newer one, right now, isn't actually necessary, it's just visible. Next door, a younger couple is unloading a brand new SUV, laughing, proud, the way you once were in that exact same driveway spot. You catch the wife glancing over at your car, then at your house, doing the quiet math people do, deciding, the way your old neighbors once decided about Aaron, that you're probably just getting by. You almost say something. You don't. Some things you can't explain to someone standing where you used to stand. They wouldn't hear it yet. You didn't. Here is the part almost nobody says out loud about money. It was never really about the number. It was about which version of yourself you were willing to protect, the one who needs proof this weekend, or the one who's waiting patiently, a few years down the road, for a life you haven't fully built yet. The people who end up with real freedom aren't the ones who resisted every want. They're the ones who got quietly, stubbornly afraid of one specific thing, not looking poor, but running out of time to become who they were actually capable of becoming. That's the hidden reason. It was never about thinking about money differently at all. It was about thinking about time differently. And being willing, for a while, to let people believe you were falling behind, while you were actually the only one who wasn't.